Okay, and now the important part. How do you deal with the court? The last rule of Atticus. And with the court, the conduct with the court is very similar to the conduct with your adversaries. Again, I believe the judge alluded to it. The rule goes back about 5,000 years, give or take. Do unto the court as you would have the court do unto you. When you're addressing the court, I'm not sure about New Mexico now, I'm going to defer to you on this. In New Jersey, we were told there is no first person, there is no second person. You always speak in the first person. I would like to ask Your Honor, being in the third person, or the court, what the court's preference is. Don't use you, don't use your when referring to the court. Also, avoid the use of judge, and again, I want Al to weigh in on this because I may be telling you something that doesn't apply out here. But judge is really a term used for an informal setting, such as say, you've heard me sometimes say, Judge, your turn, or Your Honor. So be careful. Al?
I think exactly what you're saying is appropriate protocol. I think that we get a little bit more casual sometimes than we should be, but that's your responsibility.
Watch out to ask the court a lot of questions, because you may get an answer you really don't want. If you need clarification, the best way to phrase it is, Your Honor, just be somewhat self-deprecating. With me, it wasn't self-deprecation. It was usually I didn't understand what the judge was saying. Again, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer. And it'd be, Your Honor, if you would be kind enough to take a minute to clarify for me. The second point of Your Honor's ruling or the court's ruling dealt with issue A or B. Turn it back on yourself. Don't challenge the court and watch those questions, because those questions, unless they're essential to clarifying the record or possibly preserving the record on appeal, really should be judiciously used, no pun intended. Don't challenge the court. Folks, button heads with the court, I guarantee you will lose. It is not an equal competition. The person in the robes is elevated for a reason. It is their courtroom, it is their house, and you are going into their house. And just like when you are a guest at someone's house, you don't walk in and immediately take over. You find out what their norms are, what their processes are, what their thoughts are, and you try to adhere or conform your conduct to that behavior or to their preferences.
Judge, if you don't rule my way, the people down the street are certainly going to reverse your judgment. Go ahead. Think I'm wrong? Go ahead. I mean, that's what they're there for. I used to tell my clients when I was a lawyer, I said, this is the first step. Judges get it wrong sometimes. And if you think, but putting it to me that way is a bit off-putting. And because I realize those folks are down the street. And they can send it back and say, do-over, what I call court mulligan. But to use it in a fashion to threaten a judge with a decision in your favor isn't good.
Right. Most judges, especially trial judges, have been litigants. They've been adversaries. They know what the system entails. They know what you're doing when you're making that point or asking that question. You don't have to, again, do that victory dance by going, Your Honor, just to preserve the record. They know what that means. That's sort of like saying with all due respect. The minute you say or hear someone go, sir, with all due respect, what do you know? I am showing you no respect to the next statement that's about to come out of my mouth. It's rare that you are showing respect. And again, don't interrupt the court. We gave you a couple of examples of that earlier. Now, with respect to this video that we're going to show you right now, here's the setup. How many of you have seen a civil action with John Travolta? Back in the day when Travolta was still a star. It's there. Okay, this is a scene where Robert Duvall is playing the attorney or one of the co-defendants in a case that the defendants are alleged to have improperly disposed of toxic materials, thereby causing a raft of injuries and disease among the citizens of a small town in Massachusetts. Mr. Travolta, up to that point, a personal injury attorney, which will be referenced in the video, takes the case as a class action. Robert Duvall represents a parent corporation, the other attorney from a high-powered firm, an obnoxious, fee-driven, revenue-generating firm. Not that I am prejudging this individual's conduct. Wants to file a Rule 11 motion. Do you all know what a Rule 11 motion is? In federal court, frivolous pleading, frivolous claim, frivolous defense. Rarely used, very rarely granted. And with that, yeah.
Right, turn down the volume on the speaker.
Yeah, well, it's gone now. It's driving me crazy.
That was just a ball.
Listen, I'm wondering if I could talk to you about something. We could get together for a drink or...
What's on your mind?
Well, I'll tell you what I'm thinking. Are you familiar with Rule 11?
With what?
Rule 11 is a civil provision designed to prevent frivolous and irresponsible lawsuits like this one, and to sanction quite severely those who file them.
Mr. Cheese Man, isn't it?
Cheese.
What is the fine? When you're going to find what do you do? You pay to go about your business. If you're going to knock a guy down, do it so he can't get up again.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Walter J. Skinner presiding.
Is this the only case? This is a lot of lawyers. Sit down. Mr. Fasher.
Your Honor,
You're looking well. The Red Sox must be in first place.
Roger Clemens is the answer to my prayers.
You have some interest in this case?
I'm a co-defendant, so I guess I do have an interest, but it's not my motion. It's solely coax.
And that motion is?
Your Honor, if I might, my name is Jan Schlickman.
I know, sit down. Now, the matter before us seems to be a simple one.
Your Honor, I'm sorry, but I don't think it is simple.
May I hear it?
No, you see, the true intention of this motion is to try to place me under a cloud of impropriety in your courtroom, right from the beginning.
Really?
Yes, what they're saying with this motion is that they know the law and I don't. What they're saying is that they're real lawyers and I'm not. They're just trying to humiliate me.
Mr. Schlickman, you are a personal injury lawyer, are you not? I think you'll survive that.
You see, it's starting already.
No, you started
No,
already.
I'm on the defensive already, and they're the defendants.
Mr. Schlickman, do you think I might at least hear this motion before you explain to me what it's really about?
Of course.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Cheeseman, is it? Cheeseman. Mr. Cheeseman. Your motion to dismiss is based on?
Rule 11, Your Honor, specifically on the fact that Mr. Schlickman had absolutely no evidential grounds on which to bring this suit. Only his knowledge that my client, the W.R. Grace Corporation, has a lot of money.
Not true.
He performed no real investigation. He did no research of any consequence, except perhaps to review profit statements. And he's prepared his complaint so inexpertly as to render it moot.
All untrue.
Do you know what Rule 11 is, Mr. Schlickman?
Well, to be honest with you, Your Honor, I had to look it up.
I'll be honest, too. So did I. Do you know why, Mr. Cheeseman? Because it is so old and ambiguous, few lawyers waste their time with it or mine. It's a non-issue, Mr. Cheeseman. Your motion is denied. Thank you. Thank you. Anything else?
Okay, that pretty much visualized a lot of the points we have been making over the last 40 minutes or so. You had a judge who did not like being interrupted. You had an attorney who liked to interrupt. You had another attorney bringing one of those should I have brought this motion type of motions and was admonished by the court. Robert Duvall, although somewhat behaved, was back there taping up his briefcase handle. Probably not the most professional thing to be doing, but considering the transgressions of Mr. Cheeseman, notice I pronounced it correctly, and Mr. Travolta, wasn't too bad. But again, that kind of will show you in a normal context some of the behavior that, while maybe ethically acceptable, is certainly not what we would consider civil or very professional behavior on the part of all the participants, including the court. This photo, by the way, that was a nice segue as well into the last section of our presentation, which deals with the difficult judge.